You don't have to be good now. You just have to be eccentric. You just have to do something stupid. You just have to get people to follow you.
You thought Denzel Washington was the most disciplined man in Hollywood, calm, measured, untouchable. You were wrong. 2 Oscars and 40 years of flawless public composure lie 6 names he has quietly and permanently erased from his life. 6 people, co-stars, rivals, and 1 man he once called a brother who crossed lines that cannot be uncrossed. Tonight, for the first time, the full story, and when you hear who they are, you'll finally understand why his silence has always been the loudest thing about him. They called him cold. They called him arrogant. They called him impossible to get close to. Maybe they should have asked themselves why. Will Smith. The moment Denzel lost all respect on paper, these 2 men were the twin pillars of black excellence in Hollywood. Denzel, the elder statesman, Will, the golden boy the next generation built their dreams on. For years, Denzel defends him publicly, quietly, consistently. Then comes March 27, 2022. The Dolby Theater is at full capacity. The cameras are rolling, and in front of the entire world, Will Smith walks onto that stage and does the one thing Denzel Washington has spent his entire career refusing to do. He loses control. The room does to just go quiet. It holds its breath. What the cameras don't catch. Denzel rising from his seat within minutes, crossing the room, placing himself beside a man in free fall. What he says is not comfort. It is warning. At your highest moment, be careful that when the devil comes for you. Sermon delivered in a whisper. Within weeks, the calls stop being returned. The private invitations go unanswered. People close to Denzel say he told one trusted friend, Hollywood's forgotten how to act like men. That line travels fast. He never attacks Will Smith in public. He never does. He simply disappears him. And in Denzel Washington's world, that is the most final verdict of all. He does delete people out of cruelty. He deletes them out of standards. To Jared Leto. The rival Denzel never wanted. When The Little Things is announced, the entertainment press cannot contain itself. 2 generations of greatness. An actor's actor versus Hollywood's most unpredictable wildcard. Every magazine runs the comparison. Denzel's in read it as a compliment. He reads it as noise. From day 1 of filming, Leto arrives like a man performing being a legend. Dark sunglasses, strange gifts delivered to crew members at odd hours. Whispers of method immersion designed for reporters, not for the room. One longtime crew member later tells friends, "You always felt like you were in an audience, watching Jared, even when the cameras weren't rolling." Denzel watches all of this with the expression of a man who has seen too much to be impressed. When a journalist asks him about Leto's process on set, he answers flatly, "Whatever works for him. I do the acting part." Everyone in the room understands exactly what that means. After the film wraps, Leto praises Denzel in every interview, effusively, consistently, publicly. Denzel never acknowledges a single word of it. No performance more powerful than indifference from the right person. Chris Pratt. The smile Denzel couldn't stand. The Magnificent 7 set looked perfect from the outside. 2 movie stars, 1 Western, built-in chemistry. What nobody outside the production knew is that Pratt's relentless, infectious, good-natured humor was landing on Denzel Washington like a foreign language he had no interest in learning. Both men stay professional. Both men stay civil. The tension stays private. Then Pratt goes on The Tonight Show. The joke lands beautifully for the studio audience. Working with Denzel was incredible, but he is so serious, it's like he does know laughter exists. Laughs, applause. Clip goes viral. Denzel sees it within 48 hours. People close to him say he watches it twice, completely still, and then says only, "He wants to be funny at my expense." That is the last thing he says about Chris Pratt. A joint magazine cover already scheduled quietly disappears. Scheduling conflicts, the studio says. Pratt sends messages through intermediaries. Denzel's team responds that he's unavailable indefinitely. Through the entire awards circuit, the 2 men never appear in the same room once. A crew member from the production later admits, Denzel doesn't yell. He doesn't threaten. He just quietly makes you a ghost. Dignity is not silence. It is knowing your silence says everything. Ethan Hawke, the partner who crossed the line, This one is the betrayal that still stings. In 2001, Training Day makes both men immortal. The chemistry is visceral, the performance is undeniable. Denzel takes home the Oscar. Hawke earns a nomination, they stand at the top together. And then Hawke gives an interview. Script did most of the work. Anyone would have looked good in it. Fans brush it off. Awkward phrasing, they say. Unfortunate choice of words, Denzel does not brush it off. Friends say he calls it simply a knife with a smile. 2002 reunion photo shoot. The warmth is gone. Hawke tries to lighten the air. Guess I should have said less back then. Denzel's reply is quiet, precise, and final. You already did enough talking. When Training Day's 20th anniversary arrives, the studio arranges a panel. Hawke attends. Denzel sends his regrets. His representative cites travel obligations. Everyone who matters knows the real reason. You don't get to help someone build a cathedral and then suggest the architect was luck. Mark Wahlberg, the co-star who pushed too far. From the first table read for Two Guns, the dynamic is clear. Wahlberg arrives loose, improvisational, tossing out ad-libs, rewriting lines mid-read, performing the ease of a man who mistakes confidence for craft. Denzel watches from across the table without expression. After 10 minutes, he leans forward and says quietly, "You do your thing, I'll do mine. We'll see what the editor keeps." The room laughs nervously. Denzel is not laughing, wigs into filming. Wahlberg approaches the director directly, pitching new dialogue, pushing for more banter between their characters. Denzel overhears. His response, delivered to the assistant director, is 4 words. "I don't banter, I deliver." When Wahlberg arrives late one morning and blames traffic, Denzel looks at him and says, "Traffic didn't stop me." No raised voice, no confrontation, just the calm, surgical precision of a man who understands that humiliation lands harder when it's quiet. By the press tour, Wahlberg pours praise on Denzel. In every room they re-nod in together. Denzel answers questions about their chemistry with a single phrase, "We came, we worked, we left." The Two Guns sequel never happens. Nobody asks why a professional doesn't need applause, he needs results. Everything else is noise. 6. Tyrese Gibson. The protege who talked his way out, Tyrese worships Denzel Washington for years. Openly, publicly, in interview after interview. He quotes him, he models his discipline after him. He calls him, without irony, the man I study. Then in 2014, he sits down with the Breakfast Club. Denzel never gave me a shot. He keeps the gate locked for younger black actors. The clip runs everywhere by morning. Denzel hears it before lunch, say he is angry, he is disappointed, which for him is far worse. He tells one confidant, "You don't demand mentorship. You earn it that same week." 2 film packages that would have paired them quietly fall apart. Site scheduling, no one believes them. Month later, Tyrese tries to walk it back, claims the context was lost, but then he repeats the story, sometimes praising Denzel, sometimes calling him cold, never quite committing to either. That inconsistency is the final mistake. Denzel doesn't require agreement, he requires consistency. Years later, asked about mentoring younger talent, Denzel smiles thinly and says, "They don't need advice, they need discipline." Everyone in the industry knows exactly who that line is. For Tyrese still calls him the greatest alive. Denzel's silence is the only answer he'll ever get in his world. Respect is not demanded in private and questioned in public. It is one thing, or it is nothing. 6 names, 6 betrayals, and one man who never once raised his voice, never once went to the press, and never once broke the code he built his entire life around. Denzel Washington does fight back. He moves forward and simply stops taking certain people with him. Which one hit you hardest? Will Smith's fall from grace, Ethan Hawke's careless words, or Tyrese's public accusation? Tell us in the comments. We read everyone. And if this is the kind of story Hollywood does want told, you know what to do. Subscribe, and don't miss what's coming next.